But yeah, I love Boosters. It's going for a very silly, fun quality to it. It's got a very childish, playful tone to it. I very much love this movie. There's a part of me that doesn't want to just do like a straightforward staircase because that's fucking boring. I just know I need a staircase. We can do the same thing in here on this side. Or maybe not, no, we would want to do it this way. Yeah. That's what we're gonna do, I think. I love having this whole like little hole here. We can even expand it out a little bit. We can have like 2 staircases going down. And then this pillar, we will expand it out and it'll go down even further. Yeah, I love that. We'll work on that. We'll do that. The thing about this this movie, I love Boosters. It's very fun. It's just a very it's doing things that that are like really out there in terms of like when he went to go write it out, it felt like he just had the goal of like, I'm gonna make something that increasingly gets batshit insane and we're just gonna run with it. Increasingly getting more and more sporadic and insane. It's very outwardly political, but he manages in this film. This is a film that very much is not shying away from what it's trying to say or what it believes, but it wears it as a premise instead of necessarily being preachy. There's a few moments where some would consider it to be preachy, although I don't know if I would characterize it as preachy. Okay, let me explain the premise of the movie and then we can get into any more of it. The main character, played by Keke Palmer, is a booster with her friends, as in they steal and shoplift clothing from fashion stores and sell it at a discount price. But she herself is a fashion designer, is desiring to be noticed by the industry, the fashion industry, by her idol, played by Demi Moore, who is ironically also who she's technically attacking with her shoplifting. So on one hand, she's kind of conflicted in a way because she wants to be like a fashion designer, but she's also throughout the movie trying to, you know, for ethical reasons, trying to I am like failing to explain this movie. Let me restart. We're gonna try this. We're gonna do this like 5 different times until I get it right.
1 hour later.
Follows a disheartened fashion designer, amateur fashion designer, who shoplifts clothing on the side and sells them at a discount price. They basically go on a plot to, there's like a lot of things happening that are through the perspective of the main character, but it's not necessarily said whether or not if other people are witnessing what's happening. The music is great. The music is so good in this movie. Conducted by, I wrote it down, Tune Yards. Only distinct tunes in the movie from them. Very distinct, very well encapsulating of the tone. Reminded me a little bit of like Everything Everywhere All at Once. It reminded me kind of like what you would hear at a carnival. It feels like you're listening to somebody taking like cartoon sound effects and making a beat out of them. And it's both like very quirky, but like also at times, some of the music is not just quirky. Sometimes, and we'll get into this, some of it is like kind of meant to be thrilling, kind of horrifying and creepy. As there are moments in this movie like that are like deliberately meant to be horrifying. Keke Palmer is like amazing in this film. She's great. Everybody's great in this movie. There's not one dead performance in the film. There are a few like more standout performances, I would say. There's a lot of performances that come out of nowhere that are like in the movie for a few scenes, but they take the show of those scenes. Like they are like the spotlight in those moments of the film. Let me try to get his name right. Will Poulter. I want to say poultry, kind of like a chicken. He's great. He plays this, you know, the store manager of like a fashion store. Exaggerated form of like a dick store manager, essentially. Demi Moore is amazing. She's great. Like everybody's having fun in this movie. Everybody's like having a blast. I want to go back to what I said. The whole film is just like increasingly getting more insane. It's like as the film goes on, it gets more crazier with the set pieces and like what it's going for, which is awesome. There are little moments that like pop up throughout the film. One way that the character is like representing of her falling out of love with life. She's like losing her desire to live in a way. Like she's depressed in the movie, the main character. And there's like points where like she'll be stalked by like this giant ball that is implied to kind of be like a representation of her and like insecurities and her feelings. And it's just like there's like a point where she's like looking over at this alleyway and this just giant ball of like, it's like something out of a Terry Gilliam movie. Giant ball, like it's never said what exactly it is. It's just like a giant ball of, looks like, you know, just like just things that that could be representative of her, like, you know, things that she has to keep up on in terms of financial needs. It felt very much like it was trying to like represent like everything that you materially cling on to, because this movie is very much about like capitalism, and I'm going to talk about capitalism and economic stuff because the movie is very much trying to touch on that. I don't have an opinion on like, I don't got any hot takes, okay, on socialism and capitalism. Fascism, on the other hand, we should have done a long time ago. No. I'm going to talk about it in the context of like what the movie I think is trying to say. About fashion is clearly trying to touch on like, you know, our material obsessions. And the movie doesn't hide away from like how material stuff is very important to us. I think if you listen to a lot of socialist type people, and maybe even Boots Riley feels the same way, I'm not sure. Going by the movie, I don't know if he would say this, but like, this is just my interpretation of the film itself. I feel like a lot of socialists will say like material obsession is like a capitalist concept, and like in a socialist utopia we wouldn't have that. Like our obsession with material needs is like a problem. The movie is very much trying to point to the idea that like we're very much materialist people. We want materials. We use fashion, for example, as a way of making ourselves identifiable. So the main character, when she has like this ball of like materials essentially just following her, I think the implication that the movie is trying to get at is that she herself is conflicted with these feelings that she has, this desire for fashion and looking good herself, and her like desire to be a fashion designer, which is really interesting. It's a really cool way of exploring those ideas, is like through the lens of a fashion designer. Image of this ball following her around. I know I'm like talking about it a lot, but it's also just a cool effect. It's so cool in the movie how like, I want to say it's a miniature. The comedy in this film, the writing it's very on point. We'll say, I don't feel like the audience around me, I had a decent amount of people in my theater. I don't think anybody was really into it, which is sad. There were a few people who walked out. I don't think a lot of people knew what they were getting into with this film. It's a very crude film, and I love it. I like the look of this so far. It's not detailed, but like, we're starting out with something here. Yeah, so despite the fact that this movie is very much self-aware of how silly and outlandish it is still taking itself seriously within the context of the ideas of the film. It knows what it is. I don't even know what else to, like, I'm trying to like go chronological in terms of the film, but the film gets so crazy so quickly as time goes on, and like it ramps up. It's so hard to like pinpoint like what do I want to talk about next. All of the craziness that I'm talking about within this film, or that I'm alluding to in this film, is trying to explore these ideas of like materialism, profit motives, greed. And like, if you're listening to me say this and you're groaning like, oh, I don't really want to see something like that, that sounds kind of cringe, I get it. But like, this is not like a film that's going to make you feel like, oh, this feels like it's like hitting me over the head. Calm down, buddy. Are you okay? What happened? Wait, what happened to your boy? Why are you alone? Did he fall? Wait, what's happened? What is happening here? Oh, you're like disconnected. Do I kill him? I wonder if I could... No, I don't want to do that. It's going to be a pain in the ass getting him out of here. Just staying there. One thing that they find, they find a device that they explore throughout the film that allows them to like do a whole list of crazy things with it. It can act as a teleporter. It connects back to China, where on the other end is an industrial clothing factory where the workers are barely paid anything. They're kind of enslaved to be there. They're working in really bad conditions, and their workers are kind of dying. What I'm imagining Boots Riley thinking is like, how do I connect this back to, you know, I'm exploring these ideas of profit motive, the issues of today with materialism, and like, okay, how do I connect it back to factory workers and how they're harmed in all of this? Oh, let's use a time machine. Let's use a, not a time machine, but let's use a teleporter to allow the characters to communicate with that part of the world. That's what I'm talking about when I say like the really cool things about this movie are also acting as a way of connecting the ideas of the film and bringing them together. Justice against billionaires or evil billionaires has to be more than that. It has to be global. It has to be everyone. It's like it's every idea I've heard in college, and it's very much being like communicated here by Boots Riley in a good way, in like a way that is like entertaining and well done. It has these really unique settings that allows it to one setting like allows it to deconstruct anything it's aimed at. It'll split whatever it's hitting into whatever created it, which is really cool, and it's played off so well in the film in so many ways that will pop into your head. Like, okay, well, how physical are we gonna get there? How like there's like a lot of questions that could pop into your head as to like how that works. The movie doesn't really like engage with those. It could have done that better. The movie has so much fun with it in terms of like what we see in the moment that I'm fine with what it shows us in the moment anyways. There's like also this, and then there's like another setting, I think it's called like the situational accelerator. It's such a high, it's so goofy, and I love it so much. It's like, it'll take whatever it's aimed at, it'll recognize whatever situation it's in, and will accelerate it beyond, it'll accelerate it to its most exaggerated state. So it's very cheeky, and it's like it's wearing itself on its sleeve. Like it knows exactly what it is, which is really crazy. It just kind of comes out of left field, but it works so well. I love it. It's very creepy, actually, how it's implemented. There's a point where one of the plot lines is that the main characters are trying to find these suits that Christy Smith, I think is her name, the Demi Moore character who they're up against. They're trying to find these suits that she's made that are like, they know are very expensive suits, like $100,000 suits. And so they want to find them and sell them. And eventually they do, and they discover that the suits are like human skin. Like it's like skin that people are wearing. It's very, like once they take off their skin and give it to the main characters, it turns into like a stop motion. It shows them as being stop motion animated. Very disturbing visuals of them taking off their skin. And then they get chased by those people for their skins back. It's so crazy. Everything that you're seeing is obviously critiquing or raising questions about like ourselves in society. Like the idea of these $100,000 suit skins plays even more into this idea of like, you know, how much of ourselves are we trying to change to get to look a certain way, and that plays into materialism. Like you could even say like plastic surgery. It's not trying to be like a critique of plastic surgery or whatever, but like it's clearly raising those questions. Demi Moore, she's great in this. She's got this very like pretentious way of speaking. What are you fucking doing over there? Hold on, wait. What are you doing? Okay, I guess I'm too far away for you to notice me looking at you. He doesn't doesn't know. What are you gonna do with that fucking grass block, buddy? Huh? What are you gonna do with it? Where are you gonna place it, huh? Gonna fucking place it in my house? No. Don't place it. Don't you fucking do it. Watch him. I bet he's gonna place it. He's thinking about it. Oh, I gotta talk about Lakeith Stanfield, another actor who only shows up for a few scenes in the movie, but for those scenes, he is like, it is so crazy. I don't even know what his character is meant to be in the film, but it works so well. I don't even care. The main character is kind of like infatuated with him a little bit. He's like meant to be this very like pretty boy kind of guy. And he meets the main character or sees the main character. There's this very like cool effect that takes place with the camera where it's from her point of view looking at him. So he's looking into the camera and the camera will wobble, like the screen wobbles in a very cool way.
He's so cool.
But yeah, there's like one scene in particular where one of the characters are describing how he like had sex with her or had sex with another character. And we see that play out. And it's like the most insane, like horrifying imagery of him turning into a demon, which I guess he canonically is in the film. Although I'm not even sure if that's the most, I don't know if it's even supposed to be literal. Genuinely got some really impressive like makeup and like effects work going on just for this one scene. And it's insane. That's when people started to walk out. It was like making me laugh because it's like him like eating her out and he's like, it's so grotesque and I love it. It's so vivid in how it looks. And you're not expecting it to go in that direction at all. It's like out of left field. With this film being about fashion, the actual fashion in the movie, the costume design is top notch. Lots of great fashion choices. A lot of great costumes, some of it which you see in the promotional material. A lot of great looks to the movie. Oh my god, I got scared it was you. I should name you. That's a funny image. In terms of like critiques I can make, there were a few special effect shots that could have been done way better, or that could have been not used at all. There was one really bad special effects shot, and I think it was done intentionally, but it just didn't match up with the rest of the film. Oh, and I'll give the movie a 9 out of 10. Would I give it a 9 out of 10? It's either an 8 or a 9. I'll give it an 8. No, I'll give it a 9. It's a 9. Backrooms. Backrooms just came out. Everybody wants to talk about that one because that's the one that everybody's kind of like anticipating. I think people were going to see this movie regardless. I think Obsession kind of helped. Like that movie coming out around the same time and them having a very similar backstory of how they being made by YouTubers. So yeah, everybody's been hyped about seeing this movie. Produced by A24. If you're not familiar with the whole Backrooms narrative, I'm not like as obsessive about it. I've seen some videos and tons of games and videos based on it, most popular being Kane Parsons' videos. But like the whole premise is that there are these mysterious rooms that are all connected and have this very distinct yellowish 90s office space theme kind of going for them. Aesthetic. What?
Unfortunately, the art world wasn't quite ready for his kinetic aesthetic.
This very ugly 90s office space aesthetic look to them. Yeah, Kane Parsons, I think he was like 17 or 16. Started making videos using like, I want to say Blender maybe, and like just making like very, cool like little short films based on this idea of these back rooms. Those blew up on their own. Yeah, here we are now with the Backrooms movie with like big actors. Okay, I'm gonna try to pronounce his name. I was trying to work on it. Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think that's how you pronounce his name. That could be. I think I might be off by a syllable. Okay, I don't care. You know what? Let's look it up. Hold on.
So the word is pronounced as Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Okay, I'm counting that. That's a W. Okay, I'm counting that. I think I said that. I think I said that. We're gonna go with that. Okay. In all the recent like YouTuber movies, I don't think any of these movies have had like big names. You know, we're now seeing YouTubers make not just like films like, oh, let's see how this goes. Like I'm talking like big films with like big name actors, like, which is like really cool. And he's great in the movie. He is great. There's also, what's her name? Oh man, let me look up her name. What's with these names? Why? Renate Reinsve? I recognized her in the movie. I was like, where have I seen you before? Sentimental Value, The Worst Person in the World. She's great. I love her and all the work she's done. There are subtle cues with her performance that go a long way. Obviously, with this movie being a feature film, they have to like make it theatrical, and like they have to add an actual palpable story with it to fill up the runtime. Otherwise, what would be the point? It follows Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is like a down on his luck kind of guy, has a lot of problems. He's kind of unstable. It's implied that he has anger issues. He's an alcoholic. He's working out of a furniture store when he has like a degree in architecture. Like he's trying to like, he wants to get back into that, but like can't find the work, or he's too lazy to. He's getting a divorce. His life's not going well. He's got a lot of issues. He's seeing a therapist played by Renee, whatever her name was, the woman I was just talking about. Renate Reinsve, Norwegian. Okay. Renate Reinsve plays his therapist. And at some point, he discovers through a wall in in the basement of his furniture store is these back rooms. He's fascinated by them. He seeks to explore them. And that's the main focus of the movie. Relatively simple premise. So yeah, as I mentioned, the acting's great. From both these main actors. They're the ones who mainly propel the movie forward. They're essentially the main characters of the film. I've heard a lot of people talk about this movie and say that it's a good movie, that the actual movie is good. And they've talked about it in a way that is like, it would have been disastrous if this movie wasn't good. Like if this movie was a bad movie, people would have lost their shit. If the movie wasn't good, people would probably say the movie is still good, and then you would have a typical debate of like, okay, who's saying this movie is good versus, you know, who's genuinely watching the movie with the frame of mind of, you know, this is a movie just like any other, let me analyze it as such, versus I have this fanatical perspective on this story that I'm obsessed about, and I'm gonna view it through that lens. Which a lot of people do today, sadly. Personally, I thought the movie was good. I thought it was good as well. Compared to Obsession, I would not say that it's nearly as good. It's got a lot of issues to it. For a first-time director, you know, at the age of 20, this is a very impressive debut. Obviously, he's, you know, Kane Parsons has had experience with his own. First off, the trailer for this movie, I want to say this, that I want to know if anybody else felt this way. If anybody watches this. No one will. The trailer for this movie kept throwing me off because the music that opens the trailer sounded just like the song. It sounds so much like the song that I'm thinking of.
I found something.
How is that not? Okay, it's not exactly the same, but they're similar enough that I kept on getting thrown off hearing this first part. Very, very small thing that I just wanted to point out, okay? Leave a comment below if you also got thrown off by that. Let's start with the pros. The pros. The production in this movie, the production design is very good. Very good, very distinct. You can tell they really had like a fun time with the production. So I'm so focused on adding grass that like I'm like stumbling over my words. It's a very simplistic design, the whole Backrooms aesthetic, but they do a lot with it in the film. We can talk about both what this movie did with it and also aesthetic that everybody knows the Backrooms from the internet. What makes that so popular? The actual Backrooms aesthetic that everybody knows about, it really reminds me of Brat from Charlie XCX. That sounds so random to say, but they're kind of doing the same thing. Funny enough, I remember listening to a clip of Charlie XCX talking about the Brat album and why it's that color and why it's so simple. She saw this color. I don't know how it came to be exactly, but she saw this color and she thought it was so nauseating and so dumb that it was perfect for like this kind of like dirty album that she was making.
The shade of green, like we really honed in on what that should be and kind of wanted to go for the one that the most people in our sort of like core group had the most adverse reaction to. Brandon was like, this is really hard to look at. I was like, this is the green then, perfect.
It feels very similar with the Backrooms where you have this very ugly look and it's very distinct, like memorable as well. Like it gives you a very certain specific like feeling. Yeah, this film does a lot with the production value. I imagine haven't looked up any behind the scenes of the movie, so I have no idea exactly how it came to be. But I imagine they built like an actual set, which obviously they would do. And then beyond that, there are a few moments where I think they use CG. There's a few moments where that give me the impression that some of it was CG. What I love about the design of this movie and how they utilize it is that beyond the actual look of it being nauseating, the first time the main character explores the Backrooms, when he first discovers it, he just keeps on going. Like it's a very long sequence where he just keeps on pushing into it and exploring it until like he finally comes face to face with some creature that's in there. And he, by accident, returns to the start of it, returns to the beginning of where he came from. It's clear that's by accident that he did that, but like that, to open it up with that is like it's a really great way of opening it up because it like gives the impression of like, okay, this is a very confusing place. He got lucky to be able to return back to the beginning. Otherwise he probably would have been killed off. Like that's like a really cool way of getting the movie started with the first scene of the Backrooms. So it builds a really great sense of confusion and the maze-like aspect of it. The whole production of like what you're seeing in the Backrooms, like you see it in the trailer, like the furniture that's in there. It's very creepy and it's very distinctly placed, which I love. Here's the thing though, I would have wished to see more of that. I don't even know what I'm trying to do at this point. I'm just like building a hole, diggy hole. So I love that aspect of it, but I don't. I wish they added more of it. I wish they had more scenes of that. There's basically one scene where he's exploring the Backrooms, and then it kind of just jumps into a whole other sequence where it's implied that he's explored a lot of it. I would not have minded more of that, or like a montage of him exploring it more, because that's like the interesting part of it. Honest to God, most of the dialogue scenes in this film, like there's two that are good, but like they either go on for too long or they're like meaningless, or there's no real, it's not as purposeful as the rest of the film, which I'll get into more later maybe, but eventually brings along his co-workers, his employees, I should say, his young teen employees with him to the Backrooms, which is very funny. That he's like, I gotta bring my young employees with me, who one just happens to have a camera, and I think he's partially doing it because he wants to like prove to his therapist that these Backrooms are real. So he's like, I gotta get video proof of this whole shebang, this whole like place I found. Because he goes to his therapist. He goes to his therapist with like a map that he's made of this place. He's self-aware of like, okay, I know I sound crazy when I tell you about this place, but like I'm not crazy. But like he's saying everything that would obviously be crazy. And like you would think like, okay, like I get that he's self-aware of how crazy he sounds, but like you would think that like, okay, I'm not going to be able to convince her this way. Let me go and get video proof first and then come back to her. It was kind of dumb. It was like, okay, he like freaks out at her the moment she's like, I don't think these are real. And he's like, she doesn't even really say that. She just like implies like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, fucking bullshit. Fuck you. Okay. Like I'm going to come back and I'm going to have proof. And she's like, okay. Like she's like, bro, but I guess it's not, I can't even really critique it because you could argue the guy's kind of like, the guy's mentally, it's already established in the film, he's mentally unwell. So it's really not, it's not out of order for him to be this silly and dumb. So it's fine. It's really fine, honestly. So anyways, he brings along these teens with him into the back rooms, and it's implied that he's explored a lot of it. He wants to go down this shaft area. He needs somebody else to go with that. Like he needs somebody to do it where they can like, you know, because it's like a two-person thing. Like you need somebody to help watch over them and like, you know, help pull them back up if needed. So he volunteers like the one kid to go down, or the one kid, I don't know, I think he volunteers the kid. He's like, you go down. And he's like, okay. His girlfriend's like, no, what the fuck? He's like, I'll be fine. During this scene though, it cuts to found footage. This is now like the found footage scene of the movie. And it's full on found footage. Like they don't cut back until much later to the, you know, a typical film would be. Like it doesn't cut back to the regular camera of the film for a long time until the sequence is over. I love that. I wish the editing was better. It felt like it was way too quickly edited. Again, I wish like they just kind of stuck on things, but they don't. When they have like I would be fine if they, even if it meant the sequence being, instead of 10 minutes long, being like 15 or 20 minutes long, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't be fucking really. I don't want to say the editing was jarring in a way, because it's not like it's so quickly cut together that like you're like, oh god, my eyes. It's not that type of jarring. I was having a reaction to the found footage. I was enjoying that factor of it, but it felt like it was trying to get through the obvious, like, these teens don't believe him, then they do, and they're shocked by what's happening, and like, and they're just like, it felt like a little too quickly cut together. I felt like it would have been nice to like have the found footage play out even longer. Look at that perfect landing. But the found footage is still like really great as it is. I really still enjoyed it nonetheless. It's very effective. I don't know how accurate it is to like an actual camcorder from back then. I don't know if they actually got like an actual camcorder. It felt pretty realistic, I would say. Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with camcorders to say, but it was very effective insofar as what we see. The other thing about the camcorder found footage scene is that it doesn't feel very realistic in how the person is holding the camera. Like there's a point where a creature shows up which terrorizes the characters, but the camcorder is always facing forwards and it doesn't look very real. Looks kind of fake. When he's running, it feels a little CGI-ish. It feels more like an effect that I'm watching at times than an actual camcorder, which is not ideal. I would have wished for a movie like this that's got like the budget behind it to like amend that issue. Then at that point in the film, they cut to the female therapist character who gets a call from the main character who's in the back rooms. Still gets reception in there, I guess. He calls her and tells her to, you know, that he won't be coming back. So she goes and visits the back rooms. She walks into it and inevitably, you know, goes through her own exploration of it until she finds him. And by this point, it's implied that he's like going crazy. It's implied that he's been there for a long time now. Although he doesn't really look all that too disheveled. Like he's still wearing the same clothes. I'm trying to remember, like, in the movie, he already has facial hair. I'm trying to think if his facial hair had grown much since first going in there. because that would have been an important detail. He attacks her. He's like by this point gone insane. Oh, this motherfucker. I gotta disable the Enderman. I gotta find a way to disable their ability to place shit down. Look at this shit. They just fucking leave their shit everywhere. Okay, this is something I haven't mentioned so far, and this is my biggest takeaway from what I think this movie did a good job of in terms of achieving. I appreciate the Backrooms' ability to take what was kind of like a simple concept that wasn't like well, I don't want to say well explained in like any videos or whatever, but like wasn't really fleshed out into like a narrative that could be presented into a film, and do exactly that. It's and they did it in a way that didn't feel too corny or dumb. There are some things about it that could have been better, but I like how they stuck to this idea of like, okay, this is like a mysterious place. Let's keep it that way. Let's not change that. Let's not get crazy here. Because they leave a lot to interpretation as to like what you're witnessing. Imply that what we're witnessing is a reflection of the main character's woes. Like a lot of it has to do with him. You see what is implied to be his wife in the back rooms, like a very disturbed version of her. The creature that's following the characters around turns out to be like a very disturbed version of him, and he's kind of become consumed by it. I love that they created an interpretation of this whole like phenomenon without trying to explain it. Essentially, they do try to explain it kind of through images. There's a really phenomenal shot where you see as much of an explanation as you will get to what you're witnessing. Camera like goes down deeper and deeper into like different levels of what the back rooms are. You basically see it's a reflection of reality, but it's all kind of like disturbed, essentially. And so arguably everything that we're seeing is like a reflection of everyone in real life. They mostly don't spend the movie trying to like explain something proper on like what is the back rooms and all that. They mainly focus on like these like the weird aspect of it and keeping it mysterious. On that note, so the main character kidnaps the therapist and they have a talk. That's kind of disturbing. He's like what's presumed to be like an interpretation of his wife or in the back rooms. And she's got this very like really cool makeup, like the way the makeup looks. It's like her face is very deformed. It's almost like it's lagging. Like there's different, like those multiple heads on her head. Multiple faces, I should say. Very cool looking. Like it's very Lynchian. I hate to say that as somebody who's not watched any Lynch movies. I can't even really claim to know what Lynchian is because I haven't seen any of his movies. But it reminded me a lot of like some of the scenes I've seen of his movies. It's very creepy. The main character is like his version of himself in the Backrooms, I believe is played by like a 7'7" basketball player, which is very effective, giving a really creepy look. Although even there, I believe there were like special effects used to create his character and make it look the way it did. The movie is heavily implying, like I said, that what we're seeing in the Backrooms is a reflection of the main character. Part of that is like the main character is an architect, like I mentioned. And it's almost like it's fitting that the back rooms would be like a reflection of him because like it's like a building. It's like he even says like, wow, this was made by like some creepy architect who was on acid. It's setting up that like everything we're seeing, even though it's not explicitly said, is like a reflection of him. And he kind of like, I think he even kind of knows that and accepts that. And it's kind of implied to be like some sort of, a deeper level of his psychology. Like they're very much hinting at that with his therapist being there and like him trying to like, him acknowledging that this is who he is and that, he can't change. Maybe he doesn't want to change. And so by the end of their conversation, he basically pleads that he doesn't want to change. And she's like, fine, fuck it. I don't even care. And at that moment, he looks to his like evil version of himself, this disturbed version of himself comes into the room. This 7'7" version that's like the monster of the whole movie. He walks in and it's implied that he's friendly towards himself. He says he at that point looks to his evil version and says, hey, it's okay. We can accept that we don't have to change. And in that moment, his version kills him, like just straight up eats him. And I think it was because he told him that he doesn't need to change. The interpretation that I gained from that is that he was still holding on. That's why his version of himself wasn't killing him. He still was holding on to hope that he could change. And once he finally says that, once he finally accepts that he can't change or that he won't change, that's when he dies. I think that's like the interpretation that I gained from it. And that's what I love about the film, is that even though it's based on like this, silly, I don't want to say silly, but like this, creepy pasta, you could say, from the internet, it's very much like it's fleshed out in this movie enough to where it needs to be. I love that fact. I love that aspect of it, at the very least. Another spoiler I'll mention is Mark Duplass. He plays like a scientist, because it's implied that scientists are like, they're aware of this, like, this alternate reality. And so they find her and save her from the villain creature, although it's left up to interpretation as to whether or not they're really saving her or if they're going to let her go. There's a whole scene of her talking to him about, like, what is this place? Like, you can't explain it. And that whole scene was kind of lame. It was what ends the movie. Because they basically say out loud what I was already feeling up until that point. Like, I don't think it was really necessary to basically say, like, oh, wow, we can't really explain this. Like, can't we talk about this some more? So we can help explain it to each other. So, yeah, despite the ending not being exactly what I wanted, and it knows it's trying to leave you on like without much answers to what's happening, which is fine. I don't need answers to what's happening. I just wish there was more of the Backrooms. I wish there was more exploration of what we're witnessing. And I wish some of those scenes could have been better shot, per se. There's also some like really good comedy as well. Not as good as I Love Boosters or anything, but like it's not really going for the same. It would be weird to compare those two movies together because they're not going for the same thing. But for the little amount of comedy that they have in the movie, it works very well. There's a great shot. Chiwetel Ejiofor. I had to like actually think about his name again because I completely forgot how to say it. There's a great shot of him in his bed watching TV. Eventually, he has to get up to like fix the TV, and that's when it's revealed that he's like living out of his furniture store. And it's meant to be like comedic relief. I thought it was well done. I got a chuckle out of it. But it's also like adding to his like how lonely his character is. Some good reincorporation throughout the movie as well. I was talking earlier about how I wish the scenes went longer that were in the background. The first scene we get goes on for as long as it needs to, and it's really well done. That was great. That was a great opening to it. I just wish there was like how I would not have minded, honest to God, I'm going to say it right now, I would not have minded, fuck it, like a 4 to 5 hour long movie of this character slowly but surely like going in and out of this, these back rooms. If they wanted like a genuinely entertaining movie that would have kept my attention, have it be like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and just have it be of this character slowly losing his mind as he like obsesses over exploring this like backrooms area that he has found. And then like you slowly see him like go further and further and further, and in doing so lose time, like you lose track of time, eventually get involved, like get the kids involved and they die maybe, but maybe he doesn't care, like he just he keeps on obsessing over it. Like that stuff's implied in the movie. I would have loved to see more of it though. But yeah, so that's kind of where I stand with the movie. I think it's a good movie. I would give it a where would I give it right now? Where would I stand with it? I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I think it's a perfect 6. I don't love it. I don't, maybe on a second watch, I'll say it's a 7. I think for a lot of people, this is like a much better movie I think most people acknowledge it has issues. I think a lot of people enjoyed it more than I did. Yeah, I'd give it a 6, 7 out of 10.